Oh yeah, Cashapp. Oh yeah, Cashapp.
Good afternoon. A couple things I wanted to address with the people, the populace. Uh, First of all, we're going to check the audio to ensure that we are operating in under proper conditions, because we believe in doing things correctly and once. I'm in Houston, Texas currently, and obviously I'm up to no good down here. One of my top five favorite cities. Shout out to lead attorney in the chat. Who else is in here? I only see three of y'all, but hey, it's whatever. We sipping on Zenify stress relief. I'm not really stressed, but we're gonna test it because I feel like my anxiety's on 10, and so we're gonna be sipping on this as well as coffee at this time of night. Still black coffee left over from this morning. Appreciate everybody tuning in real quick. Live Q&A. Although I do have a topic for the stream that I did want to address. One thing I have to be hyper aware of, and I hate it. I hate it. But the fact that this channel was built on the back of Air Force content, I can't completely get away from it, even though I want to. I prefer philosophical topics, even current events, or even just morality dilemmas and what have you. But Air Force content is still relevant, especially onto this channel. So I did want to talk about 3 horrible reasons to join the Air Force or the military. 3 horrible reasons to join the military. So again, it's live Q&A. If you have any questions, drop it in the chat, and I'll try to get to them. No particular order. Number 1, for travel. It's probably the most common reason to join the Air Force, outside of number 2 and number 3, and then number 3 being somewhat out there. But travel, for some reason, people equate PCSing or moving from base to base with traveling constantly in your career field. There are a handful of career fields that travel because that's what their job requires. A handful. What most people are thinking of when they say, all right, I'm going to join the Air Force to travel, they're thinking, I'm going to join the Air Force and then I'm going to wake up in this amazing city doing all this cool stuff I saw on a commercial. And it's not true. Even if you think, all right, I'm going to be using my leave and I'm going to be traveling all around the world, it's probably not true. Even though it's a possibility and it's highly probable that you'll be able to travel and use your passport and what have you. And not to make this about COVID, because it's not, because most of the other, I can't predict the future. But historically speaking, COVID's only been 1 or 2 years of my career out of the 5 so far. So I can't say that we'll always be as limited. We're not limited currently as much, depending on what state you're in, which is ridiculous, honestly, because anyway, you'll be able to travel, but most of the traveling you'll be doing is on your own time, when you're on leave, is what you'll be doing in regards to traveling. To join the Air Force, to travel, is like saying, I have an analogy for you. You're gonna move in regards to switching bases. Now, even that's not guaranteed, which is a lot of people's gripes with their first base is that they get stuck and they're there just unlimited, like they can't leave. It's an issue, but it's what you sign up for. Most people think that they're gonna get to the first base, be there for 2 years, move, be there for 2 years, move, and unless you're an officer, no. Because officers, they pretty much move every 2 years or so. But enlisted, you could be at your first base for 6 years or longer. Personally, I've been blessed. I've been to Lackland, Keesler, Andrews. I count the Pentagon, deployment, Clear Air Force Station, Cannon Air Force Base. You can take away tech school and the basic training, but it still counts. 7 bases, 7 assignments in 5 years, or so. So you will move depending on your career field and obviously a lot of logistics and politics in the given office. But yeah, to join the Air Force to travel, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because you can travel while you're civilian. There's no limitations. Like me personally, I road trip. I'm in Houston right now. I drove 9 hours to come work out at Alpha or Alpha Land. It's what I love to do. You can travel constantly. My weekend's mine. My past days are mine. My free time is mine. So what I do with it, I travel with it. Other than that, most people, unless you're in a handful of career fields, you're not going to be traveling constantly in your career. If you're personnel, unless you're PCSing or you're deployed or you went TDY, you're not going to be traveling. If you're a cook, if you work in services, you work at a gym, you're not going to be traveling unless you're TDY, PCSing, deployed. I need to stop shaking this table. I've gone TDY, I believe, 4 or 5 times. Something like that. And again, a lot of it has to do with the politics of the given office. None of it's guaranteed. Like, none of it, you don't come into any given career field to just load master. You're gonna be in a plane going. You're loading planes, you're unloading planes, you're balancing planes. Your job is to fly. You travel with that plane. A flying crew chief, wherever that plane goes, you go. And if it breaks in Hawaii, so be it. If it breaks in Antarctica, wherever you're at, you're there. Italy, you're there. So your career field has a lot to do with whether or not you're going to travel a ton in your military career, especially in regards to the Air Force. PCSing is not a guarantee. TDYs are definitely not guaranteed. TDYs are more of a privilege. And in the Air Force, depending on your location, deployments are kind of a privilege because depending on what you're doing, like OCN duty, TCN duty, your main duty is to watch other people clean, watch other people dig, watch other people construct. That's about it. And so, obviously, everybody's rushing over there to take part in that. Of course, they're trying to limit it to senior airmen below. But yeah, that's number one. Traveling is going to happen. It's going to happen. For some, it's not going to be a ton, and you don't know which one you're going to be. I came in. I wanted to travel. I wanted to see Germany and Italy and the UK, and I've gone to Dubai and Abu Dhabi, surrounding regions. That's it. In terms of outside the country, technically Alaska is overseas. That's my extent of outside the continental U.S. travel, and I've been blessed to have those opportunities. So, outside of that, do not join the Air Force thinking you're just going to be on a plane in first class nonstop. Most of your time is going to be on the ground. Despite all the myths about the Air Force and all we do is fly planes, most of us don't. Most of us don't even see the planes. We work in buildings, and some buildings don't even have windows. It's the military. And so that's why I really wanted to kind of segue into number 2 in regards to propaganda and politics. Propaganda and politics. By propaganda, I mean Air Force commercials, a great conversation you had with the recruiter. Most of it is seduction. Most of it's deception. Most of it's misleading. Again, most people think, I'm going to come in the Air Force. I'm an E1, but they're going to hand me the keys to that countless billion-dollar F-22, 6th generation fighter. They're going to hand me the keys, an 18-year-old fresh out of high school, and say, go that way and shoot the stuff. No. Most likely, you're going to be guarding that plane as it sits on a runway in negative 20-degree weather, Eielson Air Force Base. And I don't think Eielson has F-22s. Eielson has F-35s, F-16s. So Joint Base Elmendorf, you'll be guarding the F-22. It's still there. That's it. Don't bet on having the glorious job that you saw in a commercial. Most of those jobs you see in Air Force commercials, they're officer positions. Pilots, they're flying the planes, they're officers. Judges and lawyers, they're officers. Comptroller, they're officers. What you'll be doing is most likely a support position to the person who's actually doing the job. Comptroller doesn't crunch the numbers. We crunch the numbers and give him the number, and then he just kind of verifies, looks over it, looks pretty good, and he tells his boss, yep, the numbers say this, and this, we got this much. It's just how it works. The military, it's a ton of checks and balances. There's no one single person doing one single There's no single point of failure in the military. At least there's not supposed to be. They're supposed to be, if this person can't do it, then this person can do it because they're both trained to do the same thing. And then once this person does the job, this person verifies that it was done correctly, at least in support positions. It's not what you see in commercials. Commercials are probably the most misleading part of the military, especially in regards to recruitment. Even you have some recruiters, and of course you ask the average person in the military, did your recruiter lie to you? And all of them are gonna, oh yeah, they told me I would be, doing dog fights at midnight in the midnight hour over Singapore somewhere. I'm like, no. It's unfortunate because you can't typically verify the information. You're just hoping that this person is telling you the truth. You're hoping that commercial did not leave out certain details. Almost nowhere will you find the hours that you'll be working in different career fields. At Canada Air Force, we recently got some snow. And of course, we're in New Mexico, where we're in the desert. So, we got delayed reporting unless you're essential personnel, mission essential, which means security forces, you show up on time. Doesn't matter what the weather is. If there's a hurricane, somebody got to guard the base. Somebody has to guard. It's a hurricane, man. It's a tsunami. Somebody has to guard that gate. Finance? I'm at home. Minding my business. So yeah, just be aware of those type of things. Some things you can't know. And of course, that's why I've tried to make this channel valuable in that way, where you're able to ask those questions that you don't have context on. You can't know certain questions or answers. You can't have foreshadowing in every area where you're able to have foresight and say, I need to ask this question. It's not possible in every situation. So you have to be aware that there's gonna be some things you have to just be there to understand. I can only describe a deployed environment so much before I'm like, all right, you gotta be there. I can say, bro, there's water bottles everywhere, and you might picture individual. No, it's just pallets of water bottles everywhere, just bottled water everywhere. I can only explain so much. I can try to tell you what a Cadillac is, but Ray, what's a Cadillac? You ever seen a trailer? Well, it's a trailer with bathrooms and showers in it. Outside of the vlogs, outside of articulate rhetoric, I can only do so much. So I do my best, but yeah, certain things you want to be aware of, and you want to have questions revolving around wisdom in regards to, all right, I may be working 12s in this career field. I may be working 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours in this career field. Does that matter to me? Do I truly value that? In this career field, I have to apply for leave. I have to ask for leave. I have to schedule it months in advance just to get a chance at them saying yes or no. This career field, I put my leave in the same day it gets approved. For tomorrow, it gets approved. A lot of those details, it's not going to be on a website. It's not going to be anywhere listed. And you just have to kind of network. You got to go on Reddit and dig. You have to ask proper questions in regards to once you get your jobs narrowed down that you think you might want, then you need to start developing. First of all, self-awareness is probably step one in regards to developing proper questions. Self-awareness. Because once you understand what you value personally, then you know where to ask in regards to, all right, if I value my time, I need to know how many hours I work in this given career field. I want this job so bad, but they work 12 to 16 hours a day. Do you really want that job? Especially in regards to number 3 on my list, education. Actually, it's not number 3. So this list might be 4, actually. But education, it's a thing that you have to be mindful of. Because most people say, no, I'm going to join the Air Force, I'm going to get my degree, I'm going to do all the following, I'm going to get these credits and what have you. And especially if you're active duty, you have to be organized. You have to be able to plan around your job. There are a couple things that cannot be negotiated in your military career. Work, number 1. And number 2, should be sleep. A lot of people do negotiate it. I was one of those people that negotiated my sleep nonstop. And I'm now paying the price for that. It's not healthy. It's not sustainable to just negotiate your sleep. You know what? Tonight, I think I'll just get 4 hours. I left Clovis on Friday night around 5:30. I got here to Houston at like 4 a.m. And then I came back, I came to Airbnb, got about 2 or 3 hours of sleep, and then I'm up. Gotta go. Went to the mall, then I went to Outland, and I've been to Outland the entire evening. I left there, went to Whole Foods, and I came here. Came here. Um, and yeah, we'll talk about that Outland in a second. But yeah, education. If you want your degree, if you're coming in the military for your education, in particular, you need to plan, which means you also need to know the hours of the jobs you might be getting, or you might be applying for, or you might be asking for. Be mindful of, if you're changing time zones in your first base, you might be, there's tons of variables that you can't really account for. And of course, not everyone's as neurotic as I am. Like, not everybody's just trying to plan for every single little detail. But it matters. It matters. If you're security forces and you're working 12-hour shifts, well, you got 12 hours left. 8 of that is supposed to go to sleep, which leaves 4 hours of your day. Some people want to socialize. Some people want to have friends and then families and girlfriends and boyfriends. You got 4 hours to play with. That means you got to start negotiating a little bit of that. All right, let me get 2 of that hours back from the sleep. Give you 6 hours of sleep, and then I'll play with this other 6. It's just the numbers. The numbers limit you, which means if you're working 8, you can't negotiate that 8. I mean, you might be able to do some classwork at work, what have you, negotiate that with your supervisor. But again, those are things that if you're mindful, if you're trying to plan ahead, you would know those things are coming. Like, all right, I can't negotiate these hours of work, but I know I got this test coming up. Maybe I need to talk to my supervisor, plan ahead, send an email. I got a test on Fridays. Any way I can leave at 12 or go sit in the conference room and study for this. Communicate. Communication is key. And lastly, I think that was it. The biggest one, the biggest horrible reason, the most horrible reason to join the Air Force, or the military for that matter, is money. Couple things. Do not, and hear me, do not pick a branch. Do not pick a career field. Do not pick a career purely based on the money. Be very careful of making decisions purely based off money. Money is a variable that should be included in the equation. But to solely say that job over there pays this much, so I want that job. That job has a bonus, so I want that job because of that bonus. No. It's like marrying someone just because they're beautiful, just because they're handsome. I'm like, did you do a background check? Yeah, they're on parole. Yeah, they were serving a life sentence and they killed a couple people and they were eligible for parole and they're out on parole. But yes, they're beautiful. Cool. That's what a lot of people discover, is that after you get the money, but you're in a career field, you don't have enough time to actually go spend that money. You're on Amazon while you're at work. That's the issue a lot of people run into, is that money's not everything. Once you have enough money, it becomes just an ordinary tool in your toolbox. You reach a point where I'm like, all right, I have enough money now. Now what? I always make the analogy of, you put all the cheat codes in Grand Theft Auto. I'm like, all right, the cops can't kill me. I got all the money. I got all the safe houses. I got all the cars. All the cars are maxed out with all the fancy stuff on it. I'm bored. Because there's no longer uphill climb. That there's no longer any incentive to give effort. Choosing a career field based on money. Join the military based on money. You saw that Charger over there. You saw the Camaro. You saw. I'm like, Bray, if I could just get me a Charger. I was one of those people that said, Bray, if I join the military, I can get any car loan I want. And then once you spend most of your time at work, you drive to work, you got 15, 20-minute commute, you enjoy your time in the car, but then you leave the car there for 8 hours, and you go sit in the building, or you go sit outside the building, or you sit on the flight line for 8 to 12 hours. The car just sits there. And you realize you're not getting as much value out of it as you thought you were. No, you got the Xbox at home, but you're only playing it for 4 hours a day because you work 8, and then you need about 6 hours of sleep, and then you're just on fumes. That's a lot. I'm telling you, people like myself, I quickly understand the value of making quality decisions, especially when I make bad decisions, because it's so obvious to me. I'm like, bruh, why would you why would you make that decision? People always ask me, you know, what do you think about the Airpods Max? I know exactly why I bought the Airpods Max. Apple is an interesting brand, a highly interesting brand. You got the 13 Pro Max Red Chair. I got the AirPods Max. Got them in white, silver. And the ecosystem is pretty much complete. I'm streaming on a MacBook Pro from 2012. I got my editing MacBook, 2018. I really want the M1. I really want the M1. Anyway, I know exactly why I got the AirPods Max, and it wasn't because of their noise cancellation. It wasn't because of their weight and their comfort, their build quality. I bought a $500 pair of headphones because of the prestige. Prestige. And they're not worth it. They are not worth it. My last pair of headphones, I had the Sony WX something 3 with the Sony noise canceling headphones. Noise canceling is way better. So much better. This thing leaks so much noise. I'm like, how am I still hearing your voice? How am I still hearing weights over there? The Sonys don't let anything through. You're gonna get hit by a car and you won't hear the horn. You won't hear the screeching of the tires. You'll just feel the impact. These will tell you who's driving, what they were talking about, what RPM that range that they're in. They let so much noise through. I'm like, now one thing I will give Apple is that their sound quality is amazing, beautiful, way better than Sony's. The mids are clear. The clarity is just it's on 10, but not $500 worth. No, not $500 worth. You tend to understand the value of something after you acquire it. After you acquire it, after the new car smells is gone, after you've had to fill it up a couple times, you're like, all right, I got this Hellcat in the garage, and I keep having to put gas in it every 3 days. Oh, and it takes premium. I got 700 horses, but I keep burning these tires out, and I got to drop 1,200. You start understanding the value of something after you've paid for it. And it's not, the value of something is not what you paid, it's what you're willing to pay. I now understand that and again, most people, especially people like myself who study too much, I already knew that they weren't worth 500. No pair of headphones, to me at least, is worth 500. I don't care what kind of quality, lossless audio. No, spatial audio. I don't care. Not $500. Maybe three. Anyway, join the Air Force for money will haunt you. After you get that check. After you see that direct deposit and you realize, I got the money. Now what do I have to do on my end to keep this money? Oh, I got 6 years of, yeah. You marry somebody and you're so deep in love and oh my God, they're perfect. And you realize, what do I have to do to be able to leave this marriage? I'm unhappy now. The new car, the honeymoon, all the energy's gone. The sex that I was having while I was dating is now diminished. The beauty they once had seems to be hiding under their body positivity. And you're like, Brett, to death to his part. And you realize the cost of leaving. I'm like, I got 2 lawyers and a judge, and they all trying to get what they want out of it. And then she trying to get he trying to get what they. We must truly understand value, and especially in regards to our decision making, whether or not this is the right choice. So yeah, the Air Force, the military in general, is not something you just jump in overnight. It's also something you don't take 10 years to figure out. But once you acknowledge the fact, the military, the Air Force, it's a job. I'm still discovering this personally. It's a job. For some people, if you're like a Navy SEAL or Green Beret or Ranger or something, it might be a calling for you. But for the majority of the military, it's a check. And of course, there's underlying, values thereof, and the troops and America and the patriots and the service, and you served your country, and Veterans Day and Memorial. That, of course, there's all that. There's all that. But at the end of the day, you got W-2, direct deposit. It's a check. This is why I had to come to realize, as far as why I'm not staying active duty. I'm like, it's a check. Is it worth your sanity? In regards to sanity, in regards to leaving the military, Alpha Land. Let's talk about that real quick. Let me get to the chat in a second. Alpha Land was dope. I've been to 3 out of 4 of Christian Guzman's gyms. I didn't go to the first one. But I've been to I've been to 3 out of the 4 gyms that Christian Guzman has had. And I promise you, out of all the YouTubers that I follow and that I'm inspired by, the list is endless. Christian Guzman remains in the #1 spot, and it's hard to remove him. It's so difficult, and I don't watch his content anymore. Like his new stuff, I don't watch his new stuff. It's not inspiring as much. The struggle is not there. It's kind of like listen to the Tank's latest R&B album. I'm like, there's no pain in your voice, man. Now Kanye, his new stuff, or Drake's new stuff, Rihanna pregnant now. Drake might be on 10 with his new stuff, but like once you get to a certain level of comfort, I'm like, I can't hear the pain in your voice anymore. And so like Christian Guzman, there's not enough pain in his videos anymore that make me want like, oh, he's suffering in that Audi R8. Bless his heart, he's gonna make it though. I'm like, no, I'm in a Nissan Rogue. I drive a Nissan Rogue. Let me struggle. So, I'm a huge fan of Christian Guzman and what he's been able to accomplish, especially through YouTube. To see a video and then to walk into his establishment, especially Alpha Land. All his other units were just kind of warehouses with great paint jobs, average paint jobs, and then some good equipment that that works, is functional. But this gym, Alpha Land, I like to grade gyms. I like to grade bathrooms. I have a weird quirk. My current gym in Amarillo is called Verdure, 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 $70 a month. It's like $300 to join. This is a luxury establishment. It's like a hotel first, and then it's a gym also. It's like fully carpeted. It smells this is a beautiful gym, And then there's like brand new gyms like Christian Guzman's. Christian Guzman, it's not luxury. It's like modern-ish. It's like TikTok. YouTube is like old money. TikTok is like TikTokers and like TikTok money. Christian Guzman's gym, and you'll see it in my vlog. It's brand new. Everything is new. The paint's new. Everything in there is new. Lead attorney, shout out to you. Shout out to lead attorney, showing mad love. Good Lord. But yeah, Verdure, you walk in there and you feel like you just walked into a Four Seasons or a Madison or a Radisson or all the upper scale, tier hotel, and then you go into Christian Guzman's and you like, I want to go create content. Like Christian, I walked into his gym, and like just in the foyer, I'm like, bro, I want to create content. And I was on the treadmill, just looking around, editing videos. Like when I posted earlier, I edited that on the treadmill. you want to, like, everybody in there has a camera. Everyone is like, it's full of YouTubers and TikTokers. The entire environment, it's conducive to creation, to creativity. It's an environment like you've never seen. And I don't want to overhype it because some people are gonna go in there and be like, "Bro, this is not in. It's alright. It's cool." And maybe it's just because it's my first time seeing it today. But I spent like 4 or 5 hours in there. Like I was like, I'm not trying to leave. I went to Alpha Eats and had a salad. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna eat healthy now. And I went to Whole Foods. I got another salad. I'm like, I'm gonna break bread on this. No, it's different. Christian Guzman has accomplished something that I've only seen a couple times before him. Gymshark being one, where he kind of built something from scratch, and especially in regard, not particularly like YouTube community, but just in like a youthful community, where he has a lot of his friends also, and also his girl. They have shops within his own establishment. Like I even saw Max Tuning there. He's a powerlifter YouTuber. I think he's been doing it for a good minute as well. He used to live in Virginia, and he's down here in Houston now. But I guess my biggest thing is like we all have so many ideas, but to see an idea manifest itself in real life that's tangible, that is what amazes me the most. I always talk about Elon Musk and how like you have all these different concept cars and electric cars, and like this is gonna come out in like the year 3560, and it's gonna have 1,000-mile range on a single battery that can fit inside your phone. You just share charge and wireless charge it, and you never see them on the road. You will never see those cars on the road. And then you have a Tesla, and you have Elon Musk. We're gonna have this, and of course the car's gonna be late. Like we're still waiting on the Tesla truck, and we're still waiting on the Roadster, but we know we're gonna see them. And you see his works of art show up on the road, and you see them in showrooms, and you drive them, you test drive them, and you can rent them now. You see an idea made, manifested. Christian Guzman has managed to do that multiple times over. From his clothing, like I'm wearing his hat, to his energy drinks, to his establishments, to just the way he evolves constantly. It's why I'm on this live right now, because I can't help but say, if I even dare fix my mouth to say I want anything close to what he has. I saw a Urus in the parking lot. I saw a BMW i8 in the parking lot. I'm like, if I even fix my mouth to say I want anything close to what they have or what they're doing, and it's not all about materialism, but it is. I can't just come home from the gym and then just get in the bed and watch Netflix. I'm like, no, you need to go create something. Shout out to Lead Attorney. $100 super chat. Gas for the Nissan Road. I'm using that tomorrow. Lead Attorney. Let me shout him out real quick. Not that he needs it. I'm old enough to remember. I'm old enough to remember when Lead Attorney had like 2,000 subscribers. For those of you who don't know, Lead Attorney is a 20-year retired family court lawyer, or defense lawyer, or like, what was it, divorce attorney. 20 years of experience. Now YouTuber. And when he started, I was watching a stream the other day. This brother, I was about to say nigga, but I don't know, that's disrespectful. Lead Attorney talking about he made 80 grand, and I won't tell all his business. I'm pocket watching, but I mean, we in the same business, and he doing it right. 80 grand a year on just Patreon alone. He made 50 grand in December by itself. I'm like, what? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? And of course, he's a lot more dynamic than I am, a lot more entertaining. I tend to be quite dull, and I try to stay in my lane. I try to stay in my lane. But yeah, shout out Lead Attorney. I saw him grow from when he was first shout out by O'Shea Duke Jackson, had like 2,000 subs, and then he reached 12, and then he hit 20, and then 50, and then 100, and I think he's at like 140, 150 right now. He's climbing, and now you see him on with Kevin Samuels and what have you. He's doing big things. So shout out Lead Attorney. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Let me show some love real quick. I'm grateful. Thank you. Let's look at this chat. Who we got in here, bro? Who's sending me text messages? We disrespect the stream. Who we got in here, bro? Anthony Footman asks, does special warfare and security forces travel a lot? Yes. Travel meaning TDYs and deployments. I'm not sure about special warfare because I feel like that's kind of a vague label. Security forces deploy, like, has the opportunity to deploy in TDY a lot. I'll put it that way. Also, be mindful of, like, certain career fields can go anywhere. And, like, security forces, obviously, finance, personnel, you're going to have a lot of these type of positions. They may be one or two deep, but they're everywhere, literally. So, I mean, unless you're, like, if your services, you work in a kitchen, and they send you, like, not everywhere has a kitchen, not everywhere has a DFAC. So you might not be going everywhere. Not everywhere has a gym or a fitness center. So just be mindful of those type of things. Here's a question. EJ says, hey Ray, I'm 17 years old and I just got my ASVAB score. I got a 70 and I plan to join the Air Force. I qualify for drone operator, nuclear weapons, but I want to do K9 for security forces. He continues, it's a dilemma I'm having because I want to do drone operation, but I want to work with dogs and guns. One thing it's something I touched on earlier, obviously. You need to ask yourself why you want to work with dogs and guns. If the first thing that comes to mind is a movie you saw, a TikTok you saw, a well-edited clip of anything, a commercial you saw, I would slow down. You're 17. Dogs and guns might sound like an adventure, and it might be for you. Who knows? I'm not here to tell you that it's not for you, that you shouldn't do it. But I'm saying you need to check your reasoning. Your reasoning is gonna hold you over after the first, second year gone, and you're over the new car smell and all the fun's gone. And they say, all right, you got 12s. Oh, and it's Christmas tomorrow. You're on the schedule though. We need you to serve a little bit. Your reasoning is gonna hold you over in those middle years, especially because again, the first part is gonna fly by. You're in training. Everything is a accomplishment. Everything is a milestone. Once you're done with all that stuff, all the fun turbulence, then you get to the long stretch of the marathon where you need proper reasoning of why you chose that. And again, it's not like it's guaranteed anyway. But just be mindful of those type of things, that you shouldn't be rushing in it for any reason other than I want this and I know why I want this and I have to do this. This is what I'm meant to do. And of course, you just throw it on your list because it's not like you're choosing which job you want. You get to request what job you like. So you gotta be mindful of those type of things. You mentioned drone operator. I would dig through Reddit. I know one person who cross-trained into a drone operator position. So I think what you're referring to, because it's separated into two parts. You have enlisted and you have officer, obviously. The person who flies the drone is an officer. The person who's flying the drone, not physically in it, obviously the drones are unmanned, but they're on the ground flying it. The person manning the sensor is enlisted. So what you might be if you're coming in enlisted, you're referring to the sensor operator. Unless you're going officer, then you can fly drones. So just be mindful of those distinctions as well. And again, those are a lot of things that you just won't know unless you're kind of in the environment. You talk to somebody. I only know that because I met someone who's a sensor operator. So yeah, if you're flying any type of vehicle, it's going to most likely be an officer. There are enlisted pilots. Currently in the Air Force, enlisted people who fly aircraft, but it's not the majority. It's the exception. So be mindful of that. Who's blowing my phone up, man? What else we got? Lucas says, I'm joining as financial management comptroller, mostly looking for a desk job with a set schedule, not work weekends. That's exactly what you'll get. Yeah, we work at, I just teleworked this past week. It was amazing. Amazing. Telework. Mm-mm. Cool. I know a lot of y'all probably. Well, it's only 7 o'clock. I know it's past my bedtime, personally. I didn't have too much to talk about today. I did want to provide some type of value in regards to the recruiting process. Um, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Um, if it's available and you think you want it, if you think this aligns with who you are, the way you think, what you might like, go for it. Go for it. I'm the last person to tell, oh, you're not going to like security forces because I don't like security forces. At this point in my life, I would choose security forces over finance. Right now, in my current situation, only because I'm tired of cubicles. I'm tired of sitting in office. But of course, the grass is greener, and I might get out there and I'm like, bro, I had it so easy, bro. Like I said in the other video, what was it, yesterday or the last stream I did? We manufacture our own chaos. We get so comfortable that we just, how do I just, how do I need to jump to the next thing. Like I'm too comfortable right here, or I know this too well. I need to get out of this current position and go jump. It's kind of like I was watching a video yesterday. It was from Tony and Chelsea Northrup. They have a photography channel, and they were talking about how you reach a certain point on YouTube where, right, like kind of right now, most people are just kind of supporting you and, go. I got 11 people watching and like, you're just cheering you on and supporting you, and then you reach a certain point where you start developing haters. I'm like, oh, I got a little, got some people that got beef with your boy, got a little animus, towards your boy, and so. It's about kind of being mindful, being grateful for the small times. Like kind of right now where I got 12 people watching. It's not deep. It's not deep. I don't got people writing op-eds on me and kind of trying to dig in my background and trying to figure out who's Isaiah and what's he doing on YouTube. No, it's just a pleasant live stream, and the lead attorney out here, and you got some youngins from the Air Force, and people showing love, but that's about it. It could all change. Get some more questions out here. The attorney says, you are too conscious for the masses. That's what I do. Question from the attorney, what do you use to edit videos at the gym, an iPhone or iPad, and what editing software do you use to edit at the gym? So I use my phone to edit. So I currently have the iPhone 13 Pro Max. What matters... I prefer Android when it comes to editing, obviously because it just has more RAM, and I don't want to get too deep on this. But I used to have iPad. I just never used it. It was more inconvenient than my laptop. Mainly because there's only certain situations where you want to hold something that is larger than your screen or about the same size as your screen. So I use InShot as the app, InShot. It's a very simplified, highly intuitive, very basic editing app. I don't think I have a pro version, but it does have some type of built-in cloud, if you will, that stores your edits. And so kind of like this live stream, I'll take this live stream and I'll download from StreamYard, and I got about 3 or 4 live streams on here, and I'll be on the treadmill and I'll edit them in InShot and then post the clips. So yeah, I don't have an iPad currently. I'm thinking about getting one though. Who knows? But yeah, most of my editing currently, now vlog, I don't edit any vlogs on my phone. 0 vlogs are edited on my phone. Those are purely laptop. But in regards to talking head videos like this, definitely my phone. So hope that helps. But y'all quiet tonight, man. Coley Anthony says, contentment is a lost art. It has to be balanced with ambition and appreciation. I'm inclined to agree. I'm in a current place where like I said, I used to have the fancy apartment. I gave that junk up. I'm like, I'm tired of paying for this. I spend no time here. Like, I only come here to sleep. And I'm like, why do I had one question of like, I think someone asked me about on my $1,000 I spent in Miami on at the Fontainebleau. I'm like, where do you get money for that? And like, it's not like I have like an influx of cash, um, but it's more so I keep my overhead low. I was watching a clip by I can't think of his name. Highly controversial, but he mentioned that people asked him how he was able to buy into the Mets, and he was like, "Well, I have no children. I'm not married. Never been married. I'm not paying any alimony. I'm not paying child support. I don't gamble. I don't drink alcohol. I'm not on drugs." And he kind of went down the list of like, I don't have any college funds to prepare for. It's just me. And so someone else said, well, that's a very selfish way of living, and that's a very lonely way of living. But no, it makes sense. He has a very low overhead. It doesn't cost him a ton of money to exist, which is kind of the key. And it's honestly peaceful. It's honestly peaceful. Question from Lee Attorney. Talk about your relationship ending, school these young men. Listen. And I actually was going to talk about this. In regards to, do nice guys ever win? Do nice guys ever finish anything other than last? Again, as I mentioned previously, and even today's video, I'm a recovering nice guy. I have a lot of scarring, a lot of growing pains. It's uncomfortable. I even catch myself in certain moments where I'm like, nice guy's creeping up and something feels uncomfortable, and I'm like, no. Let it fester. Sometimes you have to feel the discomfort and just stay there. Just stay there. It manifests in many different ways. A prime example will be simply asking for what you want, even if you know the answer most likely is no. Did you at least ask? Say I bought a pair of shoes, not out of abundance and just I want a pair of shoes. I left my running shoes in Clovis. I brought 0 running shoes with me, 0 gym shoes. I brought slides. I'm like, how did that happen? So I'm like, I'm not gonna go to Alphaland with no gym shoes. So I went to Foot Locker in the Galleria, and I asked them if they had military discount. They took $30 off that junk. I was like, whoa, y'all different, man. $30, man. I'm like, y'all taking $30 off of that just for a military discount? But the point of it's to ask. It's to ask. The nice guy syndrome, it feels intuitive. It feels almost right. My relationship, I take full blame for it not being still in existence in regards to progressing day by day. Obviously, we were kind of both contemplating like the 6-month mark, because obviously my longest relationship was 5 months long. So now I have 2 relationships that ended at the 5-month mark. I think it's something about the 5 months, almost half a year, almost. But I personally take full blame, full blame. Not that it would benefit me to blame anyone else anyway. For what? How does it benefit me to point the finger? You should have. I told you, you didn't want to, and then we could have. It's too much. It's wasted energy, wasted thoughts. I take full blame on not being the right person at the right time. I'm still growing. I'm 29, and of course, there are many red flags in regards to, and I will not, I absolutely will not use the word settle. But in regards to things I didn't want, I accepted them in light of better options. And not that my girl was like just evil person. She absolutely wasn't. And I miss her. to keep it a buck, I miss her. But I've set certain boundaries in my life currently that I can't go back. I won't. Mainly because growth is required at this point in my life. At 29 years old, Um, my focus should be on what I want to accomplish in this world. And I realized that the relationship, it was a distraction. It was comfort. It was comforting. It was a pleasant distraction that, all right, cool. I think I can do both. I tried to do both. I was looking at my analytics while I was in the relationship, and I was like, bro, you dropped from like 30 some videos a month to like 15. I'm like, what happened? You would think that I would be more inspired to do more work and to achieve more. That's not how it works. That relationship for me was more of a comfort blanket. I was dealing with a lot of issues, and I still am. A truthful answer would be it was an escape from my reality. That I didn't like my reality enough to operate in it. That I had to find a way to get away from it. And I used my relationship as that comfort, that escape. And the end result of comfort is just that, comfort. There's no growth in the comfort zone. Zero. No growth. And I thought I could tread water and like do a little bit of both. I'm like, maybe if I can schedule my time properly, and then I can sleep in still, but I still go to the gym. But I'm missing gym days now because I'm sleeping in, I'm cuddling, and I'm doing too much. And I'm eating more junk food because it's comfortable, and I equate junk food with the comfort of it's too much. And I realized I'm going to wake up one day looking like and living like the people I resented growing up. And it's unfortunate. I constantly talk about how we fail to enjoy relationships because of the belief that they should be permanent. And it's something I even forgot myself. Something called the sunken cost fallacy. 5 months in, tons of money in, tons of time and effort in, and I'm like, Brett, I can save it. I can think my way to fixing this relationship, fixing myself at the same time, fixing her at the same time, trying to improve her, trying to make her better and different, and like, all right, she has these flaws. Let me fix those flaws for her, help her fix those flaws. And I got these flaws over here for me, and I got to fix these flaws, and I staff my weaknesses. And I think there's a reason why a lot of men, and nowadays a lot of women, are putting off marriage to later and later in life, if at all. And there's a ton of variables to account for, especially in regards to just pure distractions, vices. Everyone's having fun. Everyone's seeking comfort. Everyone's just gathering up all the pleasure they can. Just give me the pleasure. Give me more pleasure. More pleasure now. Give me more. And then you realize that pleasure, it stays in one place. It doesn't travel with you. You can't build on top of it. You can't pass pleasure on to the next generation. The hardest thing for me, and it's something I still struggle with, but the first step is being aware of it. And like, bro, you can't keep operating like this. It doesn't work. Not wanting to disappoint people. Not wanting to say no. Not wanting to hurt people. Not wanting to affect someone's perception of me. Perception is huge in nice guy syndrome. We try to operate in the perfect, what can I do to make myself be perceived as perfect? Same thing with iPhones and Airpods Max. Prestige is about perception, not reality. They perceive me a certain way because of what I have. Unfortunately, that's not sustainable. Unfortunately, you can't pass that on to anyone. Unfortunately, you need other people to perceive you a certain way so you can feel, you attach your self esteem to objects and to materialism. Of course, you can't sustain it. Of course, you can't. I'm not sure how a relationship is supposed to work. It's probably the most honest thing I've ever said. All I have is what I observe, what I've experienced, what I receive in the form of mentorship. That's why I watch Lead Attorney. That's why I watch, the older gentlemen on YouTube and things they failed at. And I've got ran through the divorce machine and I lost this and I learned this and my lawyer did this. And it's why I study generations ahead. Because I don't like finding things out the last second. I don't like being surprised. I hate being surprised. I don't want clowns popping out. Surprise. No. No. That's not pleasurable. I don't like, oh, there's a surprise dip on this roller coaster. We hid it from the brochure so you can. No. No. I always talk about like when I go hiking, I need 20 feet of space in every direction. I need to see the lion or the wolf or the dragon or whatever's coming. I want to see it coming. So I have time to prepare, time to get my mind right. If I'm in the water and the shark's gonna come get your boy, Loch Ness is out there, Megalodon, all them boys. I want to see it coming. I don't like being surprised. I hate it. When it comes to being a nice guy, I, control is huge. Control. I have to control so many different variables in order to, one, be perceived properly, but two, to get what I want. And it doesn't work. I talk about covert contracts, how I secretly want something and I don't want to hurt them by asking for it. I don't want to inconvenience them by asking. And I don't want to I don't want to risk rejection. So I'm going to do something for them that, I study them. I study their gestures. I study their tendencies, their wants, their likes, their I know what comforts them. I know them. I study them. Secretly hoping they do the same for me, which, if you guys notice, there's not a lot of Isaiahs walking around. There's not a lot of people that think like me. It's intentional. I was designed this way. So you operate in that fashion, hoping that somebody knows just what you're asking for without you asking for it. There's that episode on Seinfeld where the guy makes a bet knowing he's going to lose the bet, but he's really trying to ask her out, but he doesn't want to ask her out. So he's like, I'll make a bet knowing I'll lose it, and if I lose the bet, then I'll buy you dinner. You don't have to risk the rejection. What I'm starting to realize as I age, gracefully, mind you, 29 years old, that if I don't start putting some skin in the game, my results are going to be predictable, which is the issue. I don't want predictable results anymore. I used to. I used to like to have full control of my day, full control of every single variable under my. If it's within reach, I want control of it. I don't want any extracurriculars. And I started realizing nothing I'm doing is going to land me in a 458 Ferrari. It's not going to happen by chance. It's not going to happen because of fate. It's not going to happen because I kind of wished it and willed it and cried. No. Everything I want requires risk. I even have tweets that convict me. 99% of things and people you want will have to be pursued. Risk. Especially if it's a person, you have to risk them not wanting you back. The stress relief stuff's good. One thing I'm sure of currently is that I don't belong in nobody's relationship. Shout out to my sister, got married today. I don't know why I didn't know. I found out like after the wedding. I'm like, interesting. Shout out to her and my brother-in-law, nephew Matthew. We have to initiate him properly. But yeah, I don't belong in anybody's relationship at all. I need to keep my behind single, and I need to work. I need to learn. I need to study. I need to ask. I need to seek mentorship. I need to stay my behind out of anybody's relationship. I am no value of anyone or to anyone until I get my life together. Going into a relationship with mental health issues, it's a band-aid. It's a comfort blanket. It's a throat lozenge, cough drop. It does not solve the issue. It delays it. Healing did not take place. It was delayed. I hate the phrase "I was young and dumb." It's the stupidest excuse. Only applies to the majority of the population. The minority would be criminals. Criminals don't. I mean, you shoot a school up, 15 years old. They try and get you with the death penalty, bruh. There's no young and dumb. No, you know what you was doing, bruh. But if you're 21, you get pregnant and you ain't married, you don't know who the father is. I was young and dumb. Were you? How many decisions were made? I'm taking back control of the trajectory of my life. And it's something all men should do. It starts with accountability, obviously. I was in a relationship where my partner had a child. And I kind of just went with it. Why? Because I was getting what I wanted. Yes, it came with things, responsibilities that I didn't want to take on. But I was getting what I wanted. My needs were getting met, more or less. Constant talk of settling. There's all this constant talk of settling, and I hate it. It's not even in proper context most of the time. That's why I don't use it. I do talk about choices, though. And it's a choice. When it comes to pursuing a relationship with someone, especially long-term or in pursuit of marriage, everything is a choice. To ignore something or to put something off or to try to, hopefully it just goes away by itself. That's a choice. Some choices are better than others. But it's been an ongoing issue with me of, they gave me a hug, but at the same time, they were pinching me. And I'm like, the pinch didn't hurt that badly, so I'll keep hugging this person. And even though the pinch it's not killing me. The pinch is not, I'm not bleeding. It's not that bad of a pinch. But I like the hug. I'll keep the hug. Even though it comes with a pinch. Not to even, I don't want anyone to get the idea that you should be pursuing someone who's perfect because you're not going to find that person. You're going to find that person. There is something called incompatibility. I feel like that needs to be heavily delved into is in regards to discovering people, discovering how people truly connect. Because there's something called sacrifice, compromise, empathy, the ability to meet someone in the middle, which is also a whole thing in regards to death by 1,000 concessions, because you're just constantly, who's going to who's going to give in. That's where leverage comes in. I'm like, who's gonna concede their point? Who's gonna give up? Who's gonna raise the white flag? And then you start discovering, oh, we're both prideful. We're both stubborn. And then someone has to give in. Someone's not gonna get what they want. I don't know how compatibility works. In 2022, I'm amazed that people are happy in a relationship. Amazed by it. Absolutely amazed. I'm like, you guys made it work? Wow. You guys live in the same house, and no one's. Wow. It's amazing. If it works, sometimes it just works. Sometimes it just clicks. I can't bet on sometimes. I won't bet on sometimes. I won't. I go to a casino with $20. I'm not a betting person. I go to a casino with $20. Once I lose my 20, I'm done. Again, I don't like being surprised. It's always a surprise when you gamble. It's always a surprise. Relationship seems to have a lot of the same statistics as gambling. The house always wins. By house, I mean the institution of marriage. If you look historically, men aren't winning. How? Question for the populace. Those in the chat. I'm curious if you guys can answer this question. Name one thing a man gains from marriage that he doesn't already get while dating. If anybody can put anything, name one thing that a man gains by getting married that he wasn't already getting while he was dating. A service, a task, an opportunity, something tangible, something qualitative. What does a man gain by getting married that he doesn't already get typically while dating? And of course, there are exceptions. But just like Coley said, righteousness, how do you account for that? Military benefits, I said earlier in the stream, never make a decision purely based off money. And those military benefits tend to bite you if a divorce becomes a thing. I believe if you're married 10 years, half that retirement goes to somebody else. Those military benefits, they're not always on your side. And again, military benefits can be gained while you're dating. Because a dependent is simply somebody, it could be your child. You don't gotta be married to get with dependent BH. Like, I have dependents now. You don't gotta be married to get that. All you need is a child. I can get that while I'm dating. I can have a child while I'm dating. I can have with dependent BH, with dependent benefits while dating. As long as I just need a child. And it seems to be easier to have children than get married and stay married. Children are just popping out. It's easier to make a child than to make a cell phone. Think about that. It's crazy. Humans are so amazing that we make other humans by accident. That's mind-boggling. I can't think of anything that a man gains by getting married that he can't get while dating. Here's another question. Name a contract that humans sign that only expires when they die. I'll give you the first one, life insurance. You turn talking about some steaks. I ain't seen no 76-cent steak. First of all, you don't want to eat those. I think I'm gonna have some in my freezer. Just hit me up, Lee Turn. I'll take you to the commissary. We'll get you squared away. Name a contract that humans sign that only expires when they die. I'll give you one, life insurance. I don't think there's an AT&T bill that it only expires when you die. Light bill, water bill. Again, we're talking about contracts. And most of the time, we're just paying month to month. And if you don't pay, you lose the amenity. I can't think of any contract that a person would sign that will only expire when they die. except for a marriage contract. Most of us can't keep up a diet for a week. We get bored with Netflix shows in a month, unless they're just captivating us in like just twists and turns and ironic ending and big jump and jump cut. We get bored. TikTok, it's just next, 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 next. That's why it's easier to build, relationships with your subscribers on YouTube because you're here longer. People have been watching me for, some of y'all been here the entire hour. TikTok, you're there for maybe a minute. We have shorter attention spans. So to think that I'm going to meet somebody and I'm going to stay with this person until I die and my feelings toward them will not change. Is there a food that you've always loved that you will continue to love until you die? No, because we enjoy variety. If I gave Lee Attorney 76-cent steak and said, you got to eat this steak every day for every meal until you die, there's only so much you can do with it. I'm going to put lemon on this time. I'm going to put butter on this time. I'm going to put ranch on it. I'm going to put hot sauce. There's only so many variations. I'm like, it's a steak. Getting married for sex? From what I hear, people have less sex when they get married. It's not like people have time to lay around all day and just, touch each other. People got to go to work. People got kids and PTA meetings and sports and groceries and cleaning and car appointments. People ain't got time to be laying in the bed all day long. I feel like marriage, it plays a role. For one, it's outdated. For one. And number two, it benefits children. And from that standpoint, I'm all for it. However, it's not like we're using its intent currently because most kids are born out of wedlock anyway. Especially in the black community. It's not like we have all these templates to follow. No. I was lucky to have my dad in the home for most of my life, especially until I reached 18. I believe he was there for like maybe till I was 16, and then the divorce happened, and then I moved to him. Then I moved back to New York, and things got a little bit of turbulence. But outside of that, I had my dad in the house, and he wasn't an alcoholic. He wasn't abusive. I had my quality human who was my father in the house most of my life. That isn't most people's story. It's unfortunate. Now there's chicken and egg issue. Did the man leave, or did the woman make him leave, or what the woman do? He said, she said. Everybody's pointing the finger. All I know is that I know how divorce affected me. As a preteen, as a teenager, adolescent, I know and I remember, and I still know and I still experience the effects of that divorce. Because now I study marriage now. If you want to know about marriage, study divorce. If you want to know everything about marriage, study divorce. What do they talk about in a divorce courtroom? Assets, money, and children. They don't talk about love. They don't talk about covenant. They don't talk about feelings. They don't talk about sex. None of it. They don't talk about flowers. They don't talk about chivalry. They don't talk about romanticism. They don't talk about first and second and third dates and how long you got to wait. They talk about assets, money, children. Visitation. That's children. That's it. So if you reverse engineer it, if you rewind the tape, I can tell what marriage is about based off what the lawyers and the judge argue about. They're litigating over tangible, physical assets. Fiscal assets. That's it. So unless I plan on having children, I'm strongly considering just getting snip snip. I'm strongly considering it. I'm like, man, I don't want to bring any children into this world, but I got to sit there and try to explain stuff, and it's too much. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Like, as far as I'm concerned, I'll take my last name with me. Y'all have abused the Isaiahs long enough. Y'all got YouTube video. That's my legacy. That's my legacy. YouTube. I feel like marriage does work. So here's the issue with the statistics: is that most people will half empty, half full. The glass issue. They'll focus on the half empty part, and that's where all the arguments come from. And of course, this number that has not been confirmed by a single, all these different sources will give you a different number. You have the military. Oh, 11% of people in the military for enlisted is higher. 2% over here, and then in the civilian world, 50% ends in divorce. 8 out of 10 is all right. Cool. Let's assume all that is true. What about the numbers of people that are successful? Why don't we focus on that at all? Is that relevant? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all that people are successful. The generation matters, of course. You know, I don't know. You have all these different analogies. Well, if your parachute's going to open only half the time, are you willing to jump out the plane? I'm like, it's a good argument. It's a good argument. I can't sleep at night trying to fully close the door on marriage. I can't do it because I have too much faith in humanity. I was doing dips at the gym. Guy left his phone. It was like an iPhone 4, so I'm like, ain't nobody about to steal this. But I took the phone up to the counter and dropped it off. He was so grateful. He came back looking for his phone. I'm like, yeah, it's up there. Ain't nobody about to steal your iPhone 4. I'm like, there are some good people here, in the world. I can't write off humanity completely and say I can never get married because all this and this and they're out to get me in the court systems and I can't write off humanity. I can't do it. However, I'm still not rushing into an institution that is not built for me to succeed. It's not. There are people who have a whole career dependent on me failing. Lead attorney had 20 years. Lead attorney, 20 years of being dependent on people failing at marriage. Quite successful. Quite successful. So, yeah. I know we got a little bit off topic, but yeah, nice guys, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. Where have all the good men gone, says the populace. A certain demographic of a certain age. They all decry in the streets. Where have all the good men gone? I don't know, bro. Probably in your friend zone. Where have all the good men gone? They're in your friend zone. The person you should marry is probably in your friend zone. Unfortunately, we don't like people that like us. It's just not how it works. We want the person that doesn't like us. If you want to attract someone, be mean to them. You hear that advice everywhere. If you want her to like you, be mean to her. By no means am I advocating for domestic violence whatsoever. Don't do it. Keep your hands to yourself. Both men and women, keep your hands to yourself. But yeah, it's like you have all these pickup artists and a hot and cold method, and you're gonna show interest, and then you can pull the interest back, and then that'll have her engaged, and like that's manipulation. Cool, just call it what it is. It's manipulation. You're either on offense or defense. It's normal. Manipulation is salesmen use it. It's normal. Commercials use it. It's manipulation's everywhere. We just don't like to call it manipulation. They're like, no, it's coercion. No, it's negotiation. No, it's seduction. It's all manipulation. It's all hoping that your mind thinks a certain way based off stimuli. That's normal. Tegan says, if you want to attract someone, be attractive. Circular reasoning. And that's not really how that works, because beauty attracts everyone. Beauty is attractive to everyone. Who doesn't like beauty? I didn't say perfection. I said beauty. Beauty attracts everyone. And then now we're back at who do you choose? Other people that pursued you. And that's the issue with accountability, is that people will, oh, well, this person that came in my life and they destroyed everything and they lied to me and they deceived me. I'm like, well, you were there too. What did you do? What did you do? The little kid comes back and says, no, they hit me. What did you do? They're going to get theirs. But now you telling yourself now, what did you do? I'm not saying you antagonized them. I'm just asking you, what preceded them hitting you? Oh, you hit them. Okay. Yeah. Relationships, you would think they would be easy because we can't live without them. It's like, think about the day when breathing becomes difficult. I mean, there's certain cases where it is difficult. You climb a mountain for some reason, or, high altitude, unpressurized cabin, breathing becomes difficult. But most of the time, you don't think about it. It's involuntary. It just happens. You breathe. It's normal. Humans can't live without relationships. We can't live without social interaction. A lot of us are trying. You have, platforms such as Facebook and Meta. They're trying to, we're mostly digitized already in terms of our social interactions. We mostly, even right now, we're digital, communicating digitally. And then you look further down the road and more of it happens, and just more of it. And we'll continue to just communicate through these mediums. But we still need physical touch. I need somebody to hug. Your boy needs his affection, you understand? So you would think it would be easy. Unfortunately, we can't be honest, which leads us back to the nice guy stuff. Is it socially acceptable to say, hello, ma'am, just met you. I would like to have sexual congress with your person if you're willing? Creepiness is defined by how attractive you are. Because there are a lot of people, the Brad Pitts, the Tom Cruises, the Michael B. Jordans, the people that are objectively handsome and attractive individuals, they can say just about whatever they want. Just about. You only see certain looking kind of people get called creepy. The other side of it is charming. How do you determine which one it is? It's subjective attraction. I find this person attractive, so they're hitting on me just like that person was hitting on me, but they're creepy for doing it. They're charming for doing it. They're confident for doing it. You can't negotiate attraction. You can try. You can try to, replace certain intangibles and okay, they're not attractive per se, but they have a nice personality and they're cool to spend time with, and that they bought me food. I guess. But genuine desire, you don't negotiate that. You don't negotiate that. Men can attest to this. You can have sex with a certain person, and just you're having sex just because it's a breathing person, and then you have sex with this person, and the energy is different when that attraction is there, that energy is there, that desire is there, the zeal, the passion is there, versus they're breathing, I'm breathing, it's consensual, I'll take it. They're breathing, I'm breathing, it's consensual, I'll take it. Versus passion, bro. Oh God, bro. Let me get them loins on. It's different. But you can't negotiate that. It's something you don't have to think about. And unfortunately, we're not willing to let people have their preferences. I still lose sleep over trying to define certain isms and whether or not they're relevant. It's a conversation that needs to happen, though. Continue to happen. Discrimination and preference, can they coexist? We still don't have an answer yet. The jury's still out. The jury's still out. Can perception, or rather, can preference and discrimination coexist? Can you have your preference every time, in any situation, and it not be called racism? You know, you got Brian Flores suing the NFL because of the dusty hiring practices. The Rooney Rule allows that he pretty much is guaranteed an interview, but that wasn't enough. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't no shady stuff going on behind the scenes, because when millions and billions of dollars on the line, those are not just, one or two text messages and it's settled. But those are, very foggy backroom dealings that goes on. However, is an organization allowed to have their preference? All 32 teams, are they allowed to have their preference? Or if they aren't, then every time that someone doesn't get what they want, is it discrimination? I don't know. That's for the lawyers to litigate. It's not up to me. But I find it interesting. Whenever there's a no, whenever there's a desired result that doesn't get achieved, the isms come out. Isms come out. There's a difference between a human right and a privilege. A job is a privilege. Breathing is a human right. And again, I'm not going to dissect it the way I wanted to, because I was about to dissect, well, do we really deserve to breathe? It's too much. We deserve to breathe. Humans should be allowed to breathe. Leave them alone. Let the human breathe. Marie Antoinette. Let the humans have their breath. But a job, it's a privilege. Does the employer have their preference of who they hire? Why is it that if you go to a daycare, you see almost zero male employees? Is that discrimination? Should it be 50-50? Half the employees are men, half the employees are female. If you walk into a daycare, you're going to see 99% females working there. Why is that? Is that a preference to the parents? Or is that discrimination against the men? I don't know. Just questions. It's just questions. But it's something you have to think about. Ivy Rebel says, ain't that a fact? I used to be 300 pounds. Every girl thought I was creepy. 2 years later, I'm 180 and nobody calls me creepy anymore. Correlation. Now, we still have to address the fact women get to have their preference of height, weight, appearance, all that. If you're ugly to her, is she allowed to have her preference? Sir, you did not make the cut. Swipe left. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. The world we live in, we have likes and dislikes, and I feel like the longer we stay on this planet, and the more we evolve per se, the worse it'll get. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. Everything tends toward disorder. It's not going to get better. Now, at some point, there might be a catalyst where the scales tip and we just probably go completely opposite, and we're just going to self-destruct, essentially. At some point, we just self-destruct. I'm done. I am going to go watch Netflix. I have done my duty. I'm gonna do some editing in the bed. But listen, I do want to talk to the nice guys real quick. Being someone who is attempting to leave the brotherhood, because I'm not doing it. I promise you. Um, at this point in my life, I've never been so aware of my niceness, and so fed up with it, so disgusted by it, and not in like a vindictive type way, but in a righteous manner. Like if you were to define righteousness, I would say in right standing. In right standing, that the appropriate, the propriety, the proper way of doing something, the proper way of attaining something. You have two choices, especially in regards to nice guys. You have two choices: victimhood or risk. That's it. Victimhood meaning everything that happens to you wasn't your fault. Woe is you. You couldn't control it. You need reparations. You need to be saved. Help. Help. Now, some people will say, "Oh, if I'm not a victim, then I'm a victor and I get everything I want." No, no. What you get is a chance to get everything you want. You get a chance to risk. You get an opportunity to risk, and that's the place I'm in currently. I don't deserve anything. I don't deserve a relationship. I don't deserve to be happy. I don't deserve to be safe. It's a dangerous world. Capitalism is the reason why we're on YouTube right now. Most people say, "Oh, it's not fair. The rich get richer." The rich are creating your entertainment. The rich, they created TikTok and YouTube and iPhone and the Tesla. Capitalism is not to blame. People that are complaining about capitalism on Twitter from an iPhone, I'm like, you wouldn't be able to tweet that if it wasn't for capitalism. Anyway, I don't deserve anything. So, as a recovering nice guy, I have to acknowledge, and we all have to acknowledge, for one, there's preference. But beyond that, pursuit is requirement. Pursuit, which requires risk. If you want something, if you need something, if you desire something, it's going to require risk. And if you're unwilling to risk, then I guess you're a victim. But there's nothing else. You must risk. I have to risk. It's why I came on here, you know. I watch Christian Guzman, and he pours money into his projects, and he pours his time and his effort into his projects and what he wants to accomplish. Who am I to look over the fence and say, "Well, I want that too," and yet I lay in the bed while they work? That's not how that works. I wish she would. I wish she would look my way. Does she want to look your way? Have you given her any incentive to look your way? Anyway, I'm I'm done. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate all the super chats. Namely, Lead Attorney. Appreciate everybody for your support. I'm gonna plug a couple things down in the description if you like to book a one-on-one session with your boy. If you want to talk about joining the Air Force, talk about personal issues, whatever you have on your mind. Links in the description. If you want to support the channel, Patreon is down below. Cashapp is down below. Links to anything I'm promoting, for the most part, is down in the description below. Appreciate everybody's support. I will see y'all in the next video. Say what's good.